What's going, guys? Aarava here. Welcome back to my F1 2016 career mode, episode number 19 today for the Mexican Grand Prix. And that feels a little bit weird to say because in previous seasons, obviously, due to the shorter calendars, episode 19 would have been the finale of the career mode season, but we got 2 episodes left after this. So we move on to the story of practice. Now, I can tell you it was going to rain in qualifying, so while doing practice, I sort of had to think about the rain as well as the race. The race is going to be dry, so in the end, I went for a more dry setup. I planned for the race ahead, so we might struggle a little bit in qualifying, but we'll see, because generally the rain basically acts as a bit of a kind of equalizer for me versus the AI, so we'll see how we go. But we did obviously all the R&D test to maximize everything for that bonus we get at the end of the season after we've ceased R&D. We also made a little bit of an overtaking practice on the Mclaren there into the stadium section. I think that's probably a place we'll overtake a few AI cars in the race, hopefully, because it seemed like to work quite well on the Mclaren. And then obviously we had our kind of usual spin at the circuit, trying to push the limits, got on the curb a bit too much, but that's exactly what practice is for, so no harm done. We move on now to a very soaking Mexican Grand Prix circuit for qualifying. As I mentioned, it was going to be intermediate conditions, so intermediate conditions throughout all 3 sessions, so that means we're going to be using the green wall tyres intermediates for all 3. So we got through from Q1 to Q2 pretty easily, so no harm done there. But now we come through our final corner for our first flying lap in Q2 here. You can see as we cross the line, it's actually only going to be P11, so I had to continue on. But to be honest, through the qualifying session, I sort of found that, at least on this circuit for sure, I mentioned it before back at like China and stuff like that, that it looks like the intermediates during qualifying is actually worth going for a second lap, and you might go actually quite a lot faster and gain a lot of time there. And that's exactly what we did through that second flying lap in Q2, because we come across the line very gingerly, actually, a lot more gingerly than we did on the last one. That's actually because we've lost all the fuel in the car. We actually came across the line on low fuel mode, you can see on the bottom right there, but we still managed to get into P5, so I'm pretty happy with that. You know, run out of fuel just as the last corner came through, and we still made it through with Jensen as well, so we're both in Q3 sessions. So that's very, very good for both of us at a circuit that theoretically should be one of the worst circuits for us because of that long main straight, you know, one of the longest straights in F1 now. So we move on to Q3. This is our first one lap. You can see I'm on standard mix right now on the fuel because I am planning on doing a second flying lap after this, exactly like we did in Q2, because I definitely think we can go faster on that second flying lap. But saying that, it was a pretty good lap here on this first flying lap, saying it was in standard and we weren't pushing so hard. You can see we've caught up to Hamilton a little bit, who did start his flying lap, I believe, ahead of us as well, as we go into this section using first gear to get the car turned in there quite nicely, and through the final corner, nice and easy in second, and just feed the power through. And you can see still chopping away at the wheel a little bit as the power spikes come through, but we come across the line and it's actually already P4. So I said that was going to be our slower kind of, you know, just kind of heat up the tire lap, and we got into P4 with that, so I'm pretty damn happy with that. But you can see we're green on the delta time up on the top right, so we're doing well. We've set purple in the second sector, so this is looking pretty damn good, I must say. This might be towards pole position, I wonder. Through this next section, though, you can see I do a little bit worse on the power in first gear than I did on that first flying lap, and then through here I understeer a lot more than I did on my first flying lap. You can see having to really struggle with the car. Looks like it's raining a little bit more. Saying that, though, we still come across the line for an improvement, and that will get us ahead of Max Verstappen up into 3rd place. That's wonderful for us to be on the second row of the grid ahead of Max Verstappen, out-qualifying our teammate, obviously, but just being up in P3 in qualifying at Mexico, which is a huge deal. But obviously, the rain would have helped us. It always does equalize the AI a little bit in the rain, but, you know, we've done a dry setup for the race ahead, so I'm looking forward to it. Our setup is geared towards straight line speed. I think I ran 4.3 wings or maybe 5.4 wings. I think 5.4 is what I ran, so quite low downforce. On this game, generally, you don't want to go lower than anything than 3 because it just doesn't work on this game anymore compared to previous games, but ran pretty low downforce to make sure we maximize straight line speed for the race ahead. So I'm feeling good the fact that we did this well in the wet conditions, but obviously, as I said, the AI get equalized. But nonetheless, feeling great for the Mexican Grand Prix. 3 rounds left. Let's go out and try and do our best at the Mexican Grand Prix. Let's go to the grid for the race. So here we are taking a look at the race strategy for the race ahead of us. So you can see we're going to be starting on the medium tire and then going on to 2 sets of softs. So the original strategy was super softs and then 2 sets of softs. I've changed that first tire to medium and basically pushed along my pit stops a little bit further into the race so that I can maybe be a little bit punchier on the soft tires at the end, and also just see, because you never know, we could convert this into a 1-stop, because looking back at the tire management test I didn't practice, the tire wear didn't seem to be that much. So we'll see how everything goes, and basically if this is successful, it's basically going to end up like what happened in China, if you remember, all the way back to episode 3, where we took the medium tire to start off the race with, and it worked really well for us. So that's my sort of thinking ahead for the race strategy. We'll see if it pans out. You know, you never know until you test these things, so we'll just go for it in this first season of career mode. So here we are, lining up in a very surprising 3rd grid slot on the 2nd row of the grid, just behind Nico Rosberg, as we go to 5 red lights for the Mexican Grand Prix, the 3rd last race in the season. 5 red lights are out and we're underway. Rosberg gets a pretty good start, Ricciardo does as well, and we get a pretty mediocre one, to be honest, but that's probably also due to our medium tyres. But we're going to tuck in behind Daniel Ricciardo here. We've got plenty of cars going behind us, Max Verstappen darting around, but look at the toe we got from Ricciardo there. Brilliant work there into turn 1 to get the toe off Ricciardo. That allows us to go round the outside of him, defend from Max Verstappen. We're up into 2nd place as the 2 Red Bulls fight through turn 2. One of them pushes the other one off the circuit there, so we're going to keep that 2nd place and get actually a nice healthy lead to the 2 Red Bulls behind us, as we'll see how the pace goes now to Nico Rosberg. And I was hoping that we could keep up with Rosberg, but as we move later on to the Grand Prix, unfortunately, lap 5, you can see the gap is even bigger, and Rosberg's nowhere to be seen at the moment, and I guess you would expect it. They're on super softs, Rosberg and Hamilton now, who's up into 3rd place. He's overtaking both Red Bulls after a poor getaway and also a poor qualifying, and he's right up our chuff now as we go down towards this really big stadium section at Mexico. And here goes Hamilton down the inside on the super softs. You can just see the amount of grip he's got there, but actually we could get it. He's gone a bit wide into the hairpin. We'll lock up on the left side, just hit the apex, and we'll squeeze him through, and we're going to keep it up in 2nd place for now. But I say for now because we move on through the last corner, and now there's a big straight where the Mercedes can really stretch its long legs here. You know, even despite the super soft medium, you know, just with pure horsepower, that Mercedes car is going to get past us here. You can see behind us the Ferrari, one of the Ferraris trying to overtake Max Verstappen. It's Raikkonen there as we try and get a toe off Hamilton and also try and defend from Raikkonen, who's on the soft tyres. So really nice to see though here at Mexico, one of the tracks that seemingly is going to show us this really nice 3 tyre strategy. You've got people on mediums like me, you've got Hamilton on super softs and Raikkonen on softs, so a big variety in strategy, which is really nice to see from the AI as well. As you can see now, Raikkonen tries to close up on us, but we're going to keep him behind for now. But we move on. It's now lap 8. Sebastian Vettel is the Ferrari behind us. He's overtaken his teammate Raikkonen, and he's got DRS on us in the slipstream. Raikkonen's looking pretty good as well, so it might be a double overtake for 2 Ferrari cars here, but no, we keep Raikkonen at bay, thankfully, maxing out that 8th gear as Vettel sparks away into turn 1. We actually try and come back, and we do go side by side with the German round the outside. Could we actually keep this round the outside? We do get some good traction, and here we go. We are going to try and give Sebastian Vettel a fight back. We haven't been able to do so on the 2 Mercedes cars. We try and get back in the toe of Sebastian as he gets away from us, but now we've got Kimi fighting us. We narrowly missed Sebastian there and just get ahead of Kimi Raikkonen. It's now the Red Bull, I think, of Ricciardo is getting in the mix there in the fight of Kimi, so that'll help us out a little bit. You can see Button's only behind him, so Jensen doing pretty well at the beginning of this race on super softs. We move on now to lap 10, a few laps later, and now here comes Ricciardo and Raikkonen either side of me, and it's like getting past on the motorway basically here. I've got no speed in a straight line despite the 3 engine upgrades. The straight here in Mexico is just a bit too long, and eventually these guys have higher gears, higher cogs, higher RPM just to kind of really push it there on the engine, whereas our Honda just kind of maxes out at about 210 miles per hour, where these guys have a few miles per hour in them, and Raikkonen's overtaken us there pretty easily for 4th place, or 3rd place, I should say. And so now on to lap 13, we're in P4 still. Ricciardo, though, is going to make that probably P5 by the end of this straight. As you can see, also Massa coming out of nowhere, going to overtake Ricciardo and myself. So Massa with a double overtake. Oh my god, there's been an engine failure behind us. Oh, Bottas with a spectacular engine failure there, and he's parked up on the right. That was a huge one at about what would have been 180 miles per hour at least or more there, and his engine went to that speed. That must have been a little bit scary, but Massa overtakes us unfortunately and made a double overtake work there on both me and Ricciardo, so he mugged us off completely. And so now we move on to lap 16. You can see struggling with the tyres at the moment in P3 as people have made their pit stops ahead of us, but these medium tyres are slowly starting to wear out a little bit, and here comes Hamilton on soft tyres. He's already made 1 pit stop and he's overtaking me, so just showing that these guys have some good pace around here. As much as I've, you know, done a lower downforce setup to to hopefully maximize my speed on the straights. It's not been enough. It's really not been enough. And now, as I said back in Japan, I think it was, a montage of misery. Yeah, pretty much the same thing here as Vettel overtakes me here on lap 18 down to turn 1. You know, as I said, you know, the low downforce hasn't worked. Our car is still very slow in a straight line compared to the Ferrari and the Mercedes, especially with DRS, which is always going to be a factor here. But you can just see, even without DRS, they're able to close right up to us because the DRS line only opens just about then, and Raikkonen gets past us here on lap 19. We try and get a bit of a tow like we try and did in Baku to try and slipstream back here, but we just don't get enough kind of oomph on the second tow there, getting right behind him, so we have to settle down for 5th place at the moment. Max Verstappen is behind us in 6th place on soft tyres. I believe I think he has pit already, but we're going to pit now, speaking of pit stops, on lap 22, and I can tell you we're actually going to make this a 1-stop, because we went 22 laps on the medium tyres, so these tyres went a long way into the Grand Prix, and I think all the AI cars who were running soft tyres, like the Ferraris, went until about lap 16 at least, I think, on their soft tyres with heavier fuel. So we can definitely go to the end of this Grand Prix now on 1 set of soft tyres. I think the 2 Ferraris are all doing 1-stops. I think the 2 Mercs are doing 2-stops. I think my teammate Jenson Button's doing a 2-stop because he started on the super softs. But the 2 Ferraris and I think the Williams cars, or the 1 Williams car after Bottas retired, the 1 Williams car of Massa is doing a 1-stop as well. So plenty of 1-stoppers in this race. So it's not out of the ordinary, but of course they've got faster cars than us, so it might work out for them. Especially even the Williams is probably going to be faster than us this weekend just due to the long back straight. You know, never mind what happened in qualifying, very different conditions. But anyway, on to lap 23 in the middle part of it as we go on to the end into the stadium section. We've got a good run on Sergio Perez, who was ahead of us as we came out of the pits, but we've swooped down the inside very, very easily into the stadium section. You can just show the amount of grip levels we've got over him on those medium tyres with our softs. As we come out of the pits, you can see there is Jenson Button coming out right behind us on a set of soft tyres. So he's very much with us in this Grand Prix at the moment, so we might actually be battling him at the end with some tyre wear. But yeah, it looks like he's done basically what my engineers were recommending me to do, which was super soft, soft and soft. So in hindsight, maybe I should have listened to my engineer and done done the strategy that Button did, because I probably could have been faster. Because if you look over the course of the season, if me and Jenson are doing the same strategy, I've been able to pull more out of the car than he could. I've done a very different one this weekend. So in hindsight, you can say a lot of things in hindsight, but it is very clear that maybe Jenson's strategy was the better one. But oh well, we have to make the best of what we've done right here in this Grand Prix. So on lap 28, here we are right behind Grosjean. We really caught up to him on the main straight, and now we'll send it down the inside, lock up a little bit. That's not going to harm us too much, but actually Grosjean will do well to stick it down the inside. So go on, Roman. Okay, sticks it down the inside. He's still down the inside on the double right-hander here, and he actually bangs tyres with us. So Roman really up for a fight here. So we go into the swooping left-hand into the S section. We got a little bit too deep here, go off circuit, and we have to let off the throttle. Grosjean will come back side by side with us, but we'll just get a better line and get better momentum through that next part of the circuit, and we'll get it up into what will be, I think, about P9 or 10, P10, P9. So 2 points there right now in this Grand Prix. Unfortunate, because I thought we were going to be scrapping for more than just 2 points in this race, but I guess if you looked at it before the weekend, you would have said Mexico would have been one of those tough circuits for us as a team. And you can see now Jenson, I mentioned us fighting, Jenson gets past me with DRS on lap 31, and I don't put up too much of a fight here. You can see I actually brake very early, let him go, because my thinking is, okay, I'll let Jenson try it, I'll let him try a pass, but on lap 32 he's not able to do it. He couldn't make a pass on the car up ahead, which is Carlos Sainz in the Toro Rosso. So on lap 32, 1 lap later, I've had enough. I would let him go for 1 lap, but it's not been good enough. I thought it'd be far. He looked like he was much faster than me there before on the previous lap, but not to be the case. So I'm going to come back at him with some DRS. I'm going to try and send it down the inside to re-overtake him. So sorry, Jenson, I gave you 1 lap and you didn't take it. So we've gone back up into P9. Probably slowed us down a little bit, me and him, but we haven't lost too much to Sainz. He's still very much there. So we'll close up on him later on onto lap 33. You can see getting a beautiful tow here on Sainz. We'll close up on him, but it's not going to be enough to make a move into turn 1. So we'll stick with him through the chicane, the very long chicane actually, into turn 2. Obviously on this new game, they've kind of redone Mexico and kind of made it more realistic to what it was in real life, because obviously in the previous game on 2015 they had to do a bit of guesswork. But anyways, getting back to our action, we're chasing after Carlos Sainz off turn 2. Didn't get the best exit, so into the stadium section we're trying to outbrake him a little bit. He's got a bit of a lockup or something else, because that's quite a lot of smoke coming off his car. But you can see he's parking his car really, really well actually, so he did well to defend from me in this part of lap 33. But now we move on to lap 34, the next lap, and this time we're a lot closer, you can see visually, to his car. So we've got DRS wide open, Button still sticking with us in the background, interestingly. So here now we swoop the right hand side, we should be able to get this move done, but as we come and try and take the racing line, I realise he's still very much there, and we have to go back onto the inside line, and Carlos Sainz does a bit of a switchback here. You're about to see a lovely little switchback. Did not really expect it to happen, actually, because we banged tyres here, as I really did not realise him to be, I didn't think he was going to be right up there alongside me, and so now we have to try and defend from Jensen, who might try something here, round the outside into this next left-hander, but Carlos Sainz doing really well. Didn't think the AI would make a switchback move quite like that, and actually surprised me, so that was really nice to see, actually. So we move on to lap 35 now. We are on the second last lap of the Grand Prix, so we really need to make this move stick and be worth it now. So we swoop to the right hand side, and you can see clearly a speed difference, and this time we do go into turn 1 ahead of Carlos Sainz, and we're up into 8th place. You can see Daniel Ricciardo, disappointingly, down in 7th place from what was second on the grid. So me and Ricciardo both went backwards in this Grand Prix, interestingly enough, from P2 and P3 on the grid. So I don't know, maybe we both chose the wrong strategy there today, but we move through the final few corners now on the last lap of the Grand Prix. It's going to be P8 for us, and Jensen's going to come home behind us in P9. So a bit of a disappointing Grand Prix, I'm not going to lie, compared to USA. I mean, if you told me we were going to get P8 and P9 at the beginning of the season, of course this would be quite a good result, but you know, we do have the pace in other circuits to be P4 and P5, but that's also an important thing to note. It's just the circuit dependent thing. You know, Mexico, you know, you would have thought it would have been one of the bad tracks for us, you know, and as much as I did a lower downforce setup, that actually hindered me probably more, because into the corners, into the S section at Mexico, because I ran such low wings, I was getting a lot of scrubbing on the tyres, and the tyres actually wore and felt quite bad, worse than they probably would have if I had more downforce on the car. So I guess that kind of suggests to us, when we go into Season 2, you know, as much as we're going to concentrate on keeping the drag reduction, the other 2 engine upgrades we've got left, we've got to make sure we upgrade the downforce as well and try and keep up in that department compared to other cars. But P8 and P9, probably the best we could do, and I probably fluffed up a little bit with a 1-stop, but you know, I think we made it work as best we could, and we don't lose any ground in the championship in terms of our position. We stay put, everyone stays put, actually, surprisingly. They're a very weird Grand Prix in terms of no one moved up or down in the championship in that order, and the constructors as well, we do well to keep ahead. Obviously Bottas having that retirement helped out on the constructors front, but nonetheless we're still ahead of Williams, which is really, really good for us. So guys, if you did enjoy that video, smash that like button, let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you're around here, then do subscribe for weekly Formula 1 content. I can't quite believe we've only got 2 episodes left of this season, guys, so I hope you guys are excited for the finale, the last 2 episodes, so let me know about that in the comments below. It's been a fun all season, but I'm looking forward to getting to the end and then moving on to Season 2, and we'll see what we do with that. But I've been aarava, hope you enjoyed today, and I'll see you guys next time.